go. I just wanted to start recording that over here. Right. In terms of compliance, seeing as I'm talking to a group of brokers, you are all aware, as am I, that I cannot sell this product to you. This is a product that you and you alone can sell to the market, being the sectional title community. So what I'm going to do now for the next 10-15 minutes is just run you through the product on a factual basis. Very importantly, when I speak to people about what Stilus is, who we are, it's essentially covering the important bases of who, where, what, how, and where. Who we are, what does Stilus stand for? Stilus, broken down, stands for the Sectional Title Insurance Levy Underwriting Security. What do we do? Stilus provides protection for the sectional title community to make sure that the sectional title communities, the body corporate schemes, don't run into further financial distress by owners who don't pay. So what we do, we provide an insurance product designed to protect. How do we do that is in terms of a policy where body corporate schemes or their managing agents can put in a claim against the owners who don't pay their levies on a monthly basis. So when we speak of how, it's to settle unpaid levies. What's fantastic about the product is that we settle levies going forward and going backwards. This is probably the best way that I can explain it. But I'm going to run you through going forward and going back. Going back, I refer to historical debt, which is debt that occurred before the policy was taken out. Interestingly enough, next week I'm going to be running a webinar for brokers purely on historical debt, how to claim for it, what to do, and so forth. And then after that, we'll in all probability make it available to managing agents, body corporates, and trustees. So Stilus provides cover for all legally recoverable levies and associated payments in a scheme. We cover anything that falls within the Sectional Title Act ambit, and that would be your residential complexes, your industrial parks, hotels, mixed-use schemes. Recently, we've also added homeowners associations to our policy, but today I'm going to focus purely on sectional title instead of the HOAs. What is covered? When I speak of all legally recoverable amounts, that means that a levy is legally recoverable if it has been raised correctly in terms of a resolution. What we also cover, in addition to the historical debt, which I will get through in the next few slides, are electricity and water charges, debt collection costs up to the date of the claim, all the interest due to the body corporate up to the date of the claim, as well as legal fees. Now I'm just going to pause briefly on legal fees. When we say legal fees, this is in a situation where a body corporate has handed over the scheme to an attorney to do collections on behalf of the scheme. So if a scheme is sitting with historical debt and one of those things that you would like to claim for would be legal fees, what we do is our legal department will contact that particular attorney and say, a claim has come through. I understand that you're busy with the collection recoveries. Do you have an outstanding account that needs to be settled? Because what we allow is that you can include that attorney's legal fees and his bill in your claim. We will have a look at his fees and we will ascertain whether we think his fees are reasonable, because as we know, attorneys like to charge exorbitant amounts in terms of legal fees, whereas what we do is we have another recoveries department, which I'll get onto at a later stage. So if we have a look at their fees, we'll say, you know what, your fees are reasonable, we will include it in our claim and we will settle your account. We don't want attorneys to feel that we're taking work away from them, so we'll say to them, carry on with your collection matter. Let's see how far you are in that case. If you've only just issued a letter, we can say, close your file. It doesn't help you carrying on with your matter. We are going to settle the claim in any event. If we think his fees are a little bit unreasonable, we'll either ask him to have his bills taxed, but that takes time and it takes even longer for that claim to then be assessed. So we'll say to him, your fees are 6,000 Rand, let's agree on 3,000 Rand or whatever the case may be. But that I can always cover in Q&A later if anybody has any questions around that. Let me just quickly go back. So we've covered now what Stilus covers. We cover outstanding levies going forward and going back, water and electricity, debt collection costs, all the interest as well as the legal fees. What we don't cover are levies that have already been ceded or subrogated, penalties and fines. And when I speak of penalties and fines, we're talking about in terms of the rules of the scheme. So if one of the guys had a raucous party on a Friday night and he invited all his buddies round and the music was loud and excessive and there was unruly behavior and they parked everywhere they shouldn't have parked and the body corporate issues a fine against them, we don't cover that. Reason is that penalties and fines are usually disputed, which brings me to the next point, is that we don't cover disputed claims. And then fourthly, we don't cover debtors or owners who have been liquidated or sequestrated. On the next slide, you should be seeing a screen that says special levies, which is always a bone of contention in schemes. Now, if you consider the factors that drive down the value of a scheme, we look at maintenance that's been neglected, painting that hasn't been done, security upgrades that need to be done, electric fencing installations, and so forth. Special levies is always a bone of contention because certain people budget for the levies they have to pay every month. They've got to pay their school fees, they've got to pay their bond, they've got to pay X, Y, and Z. Now all of a sudden the scheme wants to repaint, for example, and they raise a special levy. Now if you're struggling to already get normal levy payments out of certain owners, you're going to struggle 10 times as much to get special levies out. So we allow for you to put a claim in for special levies. The reason for that is you need to upgrade, you need to maintain the scheme. Big projects cost a lot of money. Now, if you've got a quote, for example, we've seen recently, just to paint a scheme and to paint it properly, you could get a quote up to roughly about R1 million. Now you're trying to recoup and get all those special levy funding in, and your quote is only valid for 30 days. You haven't got the money in a month's time, and that quote now lapses. It's no longer valid. So now it's not going to cost you $1 million anymore. It's going to cost you $1 million plus. So what we say is instead of delaying big projects, you could put in that claim. So now you don't have an increased cost of delayed maintenance, and your trustees can implement maintenance and conference without further delay. Further benefits of the Stilus levy cover is that there is no waiting period to claim on historical debt. I'm going to repeat that. There is no waiting period to claim on historical debt. So if you took out the Stilus policy today, you could put your claim in today for historical debt. There is no waiting period. On levies going forward, however, there is a 60-day waiting period, and the reason for that is that some guys do pay late. So we say wait 60 days to see, is it a late payment or is it now an arrear payment? Our claims are settled relatively quickly. Obviously, claims on historical debt take a little bit longer because the assessment period takes a little bit longer. We need to have a look at, has it been handed over to attorneys? Speak to those attorneys. There's sometimes a delay there. So in most cases, we settle rather quickly. On historical debt, we need to go through the proper assessment. Payments are also outright payments to the body corporate. Stilus is an insurance product, not a financial product. So we do not make a loan to a body corporate. This is a question that's been raised before where trustees are worried that a claim is made and paid out and that at a later stage we're going to say, you know what, we couldn't recover, etc., etc. We now need that money back. It was a loan and it has to be paid back with X. That is not the case. It's an outright payment to the body corporate. On claims going forward, I will get to that. There is no excess. So if you put in a claim for 2,000 Rand, for example, we will pay out 2,000 Rand. The policy also enables, enables the common property to be maintained on a regular basis and to a high standard. The scheme will always have sufficient funds to ensure that the things that they budgeted for, there is available. We guarantee the cash flow, so there's no longer a shortfall on collection of levies, and also trustees now no longer need to act as debt collectors. You don't have to go knock on your neighbor's door and hand him a letter and be the bad guy in the scheme. Something I always seem to pride ourselves in when I chat to people is a success story, and you know the famous one in the office is the success story of Michelle Heights up in Empangeni, I believe. What happened was there was a scheme who ran into serious delays in terms of payments. They had no water, they had no electricity. Thankfully, they had kept up with their premiums in terms of the policy. So what we decided to do was we thought, you know what, we could walk away from this, but instead let's be of assistance because their premiums are up to date. So we flew up and we decided that we were going to assist this scheme. Firstly, They had no resolutions. Now, you'll recall earlier I said that levies need to be legally recoverable in terms of a resolution. To add insult to injury, the scheme also didn't have any trustees. No trustees were elected. So our team, including Craig Samai, which heads up our legal department, flew up to Mpangeni and had a chat with the broker as well as the trustees and the managing agents, got everybody around the table, and we said, right, how can we provide a solution to this problem? So what we said to them was, number one, you need to elect trustees. We explained to them what a trustee is, what their duties are, what their job is, how to elect. We then said to them, right, we've got that, we now need to raise proper resolutions, or sorry, pass proper resolutions. From that, we then suggested that all the levies be reversed because they were incorrectly raised, and that they then raise a special levy for the arrear amounts owed by each owner. And obviously, as I said earlier, we cover special levies, so they were then able to put that claim in. We were able to pay out and to assist. They're going to have their water and their electricity reconnected, and since then, Michelle Heights is running smoothly as far as I understand. What is the premium? Now, if you take the premium out as a standalone policy directly through your broker, or you guys are all sitting there as brokers, I'm assuming I'm talking. What happens is if someone takes it out through you and you take it out as a standalone policy, you're looking at 10 Rand per unit per month. If you opt to go and take the policy out directly through one, the Stilus levy cover is already included at no additional cost in the material damage policy. The minimum premium is 100 Rand a month. So if you've got a tiny scheme with less than 10 units, your minimum premium will be 100 Rand a month. Going forward onto claims, Stilus is broken down into two sections that you can claim for, which I mentioned earlier, which is your debt going forward, which we call the current arrears, and going backwards. So Section A refers to after you've taken out the policy. You've had the policy in for a couple of months or a year, and now all of a sudden something's gone haywire in the scheme and you have outstanding levies. In that regard, there is no deduction, there is no excess at all. You put in a claim for 2,000 Rand, we will make a direct payment to the body corporate for 2,000 Rand to get the cash flow back where it's supposed to be. The claim is then subrogated to Stilus. The minimum claim, however, needs to be 1,000 Rand. On debt going backwards, this is now a debt that you have before you've taken out the policy. There we need to have a minimum claim of 5,000 Rand. We will look at claims lower than 5,000 Rand, but then you need to contact the officers for us to be able to guide you through that. But in all likelihood, if you've got claims that are more than a year old, it's going to be more than 5,000 Rand. On that, the excess is 1,500 Rand or 10% of the claim, whichever one is the greater. And your claim amounts cannot be older than 3 years, so they cannot have prescribed. And in terms of the new Prescription Act, that is very, very important as well. How to make a claim? It's incredibly simple. The body corporate just needs to submit a claim anytime during the month. We allow for them to claim up to every 2 months as well. You send an email through to claims at Levy Cover. You can mail me directly as well. Brokers don't have to get involved in the claim process. However, we prefer that you do, that you are aware of what is happening with your client. So when a claim comes through, we notify you as well. We'll say Body Corporate ABC has put in a claim for historical debt, or they've put in a claim for the last 3 months in arrears, just so you are kept in the loop as well as to what is going on. We'll obviously request certain supporting documents from them. Everything's in order. We will register the claim and make payment as soon as possible. Once we make payment, the body corporate has to credit each and every debtor's levy account. So if you've got 3 that are in arrears, those 3 owners need to have their accounts credited. It needs to say Levy Cover Claims Payment or Stilus Levy Cover Claims Payment. And then, as I mentioned, if you've got a repeat offender, the body corporate can make a claim as often as every 2 months. However, claims are then limited to 10% of the insured value of your unit. So if you have a particular unit that's worth $1 million, you can claim up to 10% of that amount. Just for interesting sake, I know we're sitting mostly with brokers in the audience, but I wanted to run through the role of the managing agent in any event. This obviously assists you when you're chatting to your managing agents. We do request that managing agents submit resolutions, but our team at the policies department will walk them through it in any event, the resolutions they need and all other documentation. What's quite useful and what I find a lot of managing agents seem to be quite impressed with is that we allow for a claims preparation cost for each individual claim that they submit. It's a small fee of 150 Rand plus VAT, depending on whether your managing agent is VAT registered. So if they put through 10 claims for a particular body corporate, we will pay 10 times 150 Rand just as a claims preparation cost. They need to invoice us for that at the same time as they submit the claim. And when payment is made, we will make a payment to the body corporate in terms of the claim and a payment to the managing agent in terms of the claims preparation cost. This over here on your screen, you should be able to see essentially what a claim application for historical debt looks like. I've just put in quickly the pertinent information, the broker's details, managing agent's details, the details of that particular levy defaulter. So you would need to, the reason that we allow for that claims preparation cost is that the managing agent, if there is one, would need to fill this out for each and every unit owner that is in default. You'll see here as well that on current claims, for example, you can say the loss from this period to that period. You will also be able to see under historical debt the amount claimed for levies, for electricity, special levies, etc., and for the attorneys. On the next page we say, has legal action been taken? If so, we need the details of the attorney. Requesting a quote. All we need is, I think it's 5 pieces of information that you can simply email through to myself, or if you've got the details of our quotes department, full details of the body corporate, address, the number of units, total insured value on the buildings combined, and contact details of the managing agent if there is one. That you pop on an email, you just say hi. You can, if you send it through to me, you can say, hi Lisa, please provide a quote, 5 pieces of information, and we will provide you with a quote same day as well. What we've also allowed for is on our website, we have a page where brokers can request a quote. So if you're a little bit more computer savvy and you want to work straight through the website, same information goes in, you hit send and it comes through to us. All our claims are paid through ABSA Insurance Risk Management Services, as we are a member of the One Group. And then just quickly I want to take you through a walk through our website, which we update as regularly as possible, trying to always add new pieces of information, new innovation. Recently we added a managing agents network page, which allows body corporates, if they're looking for a managing agent, if they want to change managing agents, find out more about what a managing agent can do for them, they can go to that page, and we have them on the different provinces. On our page over here, we also have a broker network page. I'm sure some of you that are sitting there are members. If not, you're welcome to email me, give me all your details, and I will add you to the broker network page. What I like to do, I know Mike Addison, I'm not sure if you're sitting there, but every now and so often Mike gives some really interesting articles on Facebook and on his page as well, which I then share on our pages for everyone to have a look. I don't always have time to come up with something interesting, so I use Mike's ideas. If you have a look on the page, we have something at the bottom as well called Chat with Us. So if I'm not in the office, or we're having a fantastic time with Eskom and the load shedding, and you have a 3G and we are online, you can send us a message directly through the website. It is in real time. You'll see on your screen there should be a little test run that I did, where you can say, hi, if I claim, does my premium go up? And then someone in the office who's online will be able to say, no, not at all, and is there anything else I can assist you with? Which is also quite an interesting question, is that I mentioned earlier you can claim every 2 months if needs be. Your premium doesn't go up, which is actually quite interesting, seeing as I had a car smash a couple of weeks ago and my premium has gone up even though I've bought a later model vehicle now. Here is just a quick view as to what the broker network page looks like. You'll see there, for example, there's PSG, for example, there's DAB broking services, The cell phone numbers are there, their website is there, the email address. It is hyperlinked. On the right-hand side, there's a little car, so if you're using your cell phone to try and find a broker in the area, you can click navigate. It will link up with Google Earth and be able to direct you through to their offices. Over here also is the Stilus map, where we are situated for the next month and a bit. Stilus has grown to such an extent at the moment that we've run out of space and we are moving offices, which is also an indication as to how well the product is working. I always say to people, please, 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 please go and have a look at our Facebook page. Here's the latest blog that was written yesterday. Weekly, I like to add something new, be it on legislation, in terms of the Sectional Title Act, be it on something new happening in the industry, something happening within the office, and so forth. And that then brings us to the end of the presentation. I hope everybody is still online. Shane, are you there? Natasha, I'm going to unmute your mic so that you can let me know if there are any questions there as well. Natasha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. I hope there wasn't any drops in communication, and and thanks to Eskom that you guys were able to see and hear the entire presentation.
Yeah, everything went well. Has anybody got questions?
Yes, wouldn't this sort of thing encourage parents and title holders not to pay?
No, because they get sued.
It is a very good question. Yes, I'm sure there are a few that would say, well, you know what, I don't have to pay. But at the end of the day, we also have a recoveries department. So even though they haven't paid outstanding levies, they still have to pay that. That claim gets subrogated over to Stilus, and we have a recoveries department who will then make contact with that owner and say, right, for the month of, let's say, January to March, you never paid your levies. It has now come to 1,200 Rand, for example. You need to continue paying your monthly levies to your body corporate. However, we have paid your outstanding levies to the body corporate. You now owe that 1,200 Rand to Stilus. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, great.
Anybody else? Everybody understand the Stilus product? Lisa did mention that it is linked to the one product. So I think it's on the DSI and the DST policy. It's automatically included. So if you are insuring a DST or a sectional title, it's automatically included on that product. Okay, and then Lisa, you never mentioned what the commission was?
The commission is, as per the normal broker commission, it will be 20%.
Okay, so if you guys, and also if they go standalone with you guys, it's 20%.
It's 20% across the board. I mean, if we understand that the premium in comparison to whatever other products brokers might be writing isn't very high, but you also need to keep in mind that you are adding a value to your clients. This is a value-added product as well, in addition to their normal insurance, and a very useful product to improve the cash flows of body corporates.
Okay, any other questions? No.
None. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
It's an absolute pleasure. Natasha, you've got my email address, so if there are any questions that anyone thinks of at a later stage, you're more than welcome to email me. If you'd like a copy of the policy wording or the policy guide or this presentation to be able to hand over to your managing agents or body corporates when you're chatting to them, please feel free to email me and I'll gladly email a copy through to you as well.
Okay.
Okay. Guys, enjoy the rest of the day. I'm sure you guys are going to have load shedding now. We're going to be down until about 2 o'clock. But I hope everyone found the presentation valuable, useful, and that I will be hearing from most of you in due course.
Perfect. Thanks.
Perfect. Natasha, have a safe flight back.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll fly.
Okay.
Thanks.
Keep well.
Okay, bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.